All right, Shalom. First off, I want to start off by saying all praises, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah, Kadash. That's all praises who the world calls God, whose true name in the Hebrew is Yahweh. The name of his beloved son is Yahweh Shai. Also, I want to say double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone and peace and mercy to the hopeful like preaching this word in truth and sincerity on the brother Tazabah, the Great Millstone, Arizona camp. Lord will with another video to edify. And here it is. You had the U.S. government pass another almost $2 trillion bill, with stimulus checks involved as well. But so many people are going crazy over this, thinking that it's a great thing. People are gonna have $1,400, which the scriptures tell you, use the world that's not abusing it. So, I mean, if you're able to get that, get it. Make your situation a little better. Prepare a little bit, get what you need. But the other hand is most Jake out there is looking at this as an opportunity just to be able to get shit, as an opportunity to live a little better. They're not looking at this for anything other than self satisfaction. When $2 trillion is printed out of nowhere. Let me see if I can find an article on this, because I know I've seen some this week. When $2 trillion is printed out of nowhere, it does something to the overall value of the money, right? Let's see. Here it is. It says, Biden signs historic 1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan, promises answers to press later. It says U.S. President Biden has signed coronavirus relief bill, clearing the way for some Americans to get a one-time $14 billions and give billions to a number of other policy priorities. He left without taking questions. Now, this bill was signed, and you, Jake, are going to be able to get, everybody actually that doesn't make, like, I think it's like $75,000 a year, will able to get $1,400. But at the end of the day, it's devaluing your currency. Your money is going to be globally seen as not worth anything. And all these countries are looking at this. All these other countries that have to deal with international trade and the U.S. dollar are looking at this and looking at the U.S. dollar like it's not worth anything. This is why you have countries like Russia who still hold a large amount of U.S. debt. Countries like China who hold an even bigger, larger amount of U.S. debt. They're just gonna start, dumping it off. Look, it says Russian focus on de-dollarization means international trade increasingly conducted in national currencies. Top member of parliament Bolding says. It says after years of talking about abandoning the U.S. dollar, Russia is finally transitioning towards conducting international trade in state national tender rather than relying on U.S. foreign currency like the greenback and euro. That's according to State Duma Speaker Vyacheslav Volodin, who noted that trade is being gradually transitioned away from the traditional favored reserve currency towards domestic denominations of the countries involved in the bilateral deals. So when you have the U.S. debt being X'd out of the currency scheme globally, what does that spell? It means your money is not going to be valued at anything globally. So what did that do? That drives down the value of the money globally, which drives up the prices of goods. So let me get a few scriptures. This is Habakkuk. Habakkuk 2 and I'll start at 5. It says, yeah, also because he transgresseth by wine. He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. Who enlargeth his desire is hell. And who is this talking about? Esau. It's talking about the wicked, which the wicked are Esau, according to the scriptures, Malachi 1 and 4. He enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, and how long, and to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. So let's get that word for thick clay right there, right? This is Habakkuk 2 and 6, right? For that word clay. You go to the interlinear here, and that word in the Hebrew is abaya, abatayata. So ibatya, ibatyat. And it says weight of pledges, heavy debts. So who's lading himself with thick clay? Who's lading himself with thick debt? No other country in the world, except for you Edomite countries, are sitting there lading themselves with thick debt. You print currency, it devalues the currency. So it takes more of those debt notes to pay off debts. And here it is. They've borrowed so much from the International Monetary Fund. They're printing so much money that they can no longer, and the brothers have said this before, they can no longer pay off the debts. So what do? They only pay towards the interest. And that's when you're really fucked, is when you can only pay interest. So this man is printing so much money that it's causing him to have a currency that's worth nothing. And this is what their plan is. Their plan is to X out the US dollar to bring in a new monetary system, right? Because why would you need to replace something that ain't broken? Now look, when you go into the Roman Empire, now let me get this. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 1. Where's it at? Ecclesiastes 1 and 9. It says, the thing that had been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. So basically everything repeats itself. It says, is there anything whereof it may be said, see, it is new? It had already been of old time, which was before us. So this is the old time that was before us. The Roman Empire did something to the same effect. Now it says right here, right? It says coin clipping and inflation. It says all readers of Go Age know. I hope that inflation is caused by increasing the supply of money, regardless of what form it may take. I must use money in quotes because current money isn't money at all, as it is as it has no value other than as legal tender, meaning we are forced to use it to trade. Money is supposed to be valuable. I preach over and over again that you must save money in measurement of denominated in things other than the shaky dollar or other currencies, as they are shrinking measuring devices. Now let me see if I can scroll down. Go right here. Start right here. It says, as the supply of currency grows because of electricity, ink, and paper being fed into the printing press, they always become worthless. And eventually these two words are melded into one, worth less. Right? worthless. They begin to become worth less, and then they are worthless. Now it says in ancient Roman times there was no printing press to turn out the money, and in fact parchment was difficult to manufacture anyway. So actual silver and gold were used as money. It's amazing what some people will do in a pinch. Were money. The coins were money, no quotes, because the turn to turn them out required a lot of effort of time, melt and sharp and stamp out the coins. But inflation did occur. How? Simply look closely at the photo of the almost 2,000-year-old silver Roman denarius, which hangs over my desk, right? It's a silver denarius. The photo proves a couple of things. First of all, silver has been and probably always will be true money. But secondly, note that the small piece of the coin is missing uh, its inflation of 2,000 years ago. The Roman governor Caesar, which controlled the money, would clip a bit off of each coin as it came passed through his hands. The clippings would be melted down and made into new coins, thereby increasing the supply of money without having to mine more silver. In those days, it also became common practice to gradually, microscopically reduce the size of the coins and declare they had the same value as today. The dumb Romans probably never knew the difference. Inflation is not new. So this is something that happened in the Roman Empire. They would clip the edges of the coin and mix it with inferior metals or just reduce the size and say, hey, this holds the same value. This is the same thing that's happened in America. They're devaluing the currency by printing more, giving it to the people, and it's devaluing the currency. And what happened next was what it cost way more to buy the same goods that people used to buy. And this is what's going to happen. This is how famine starts off. This is how people get angry. This is exactly what the scriptures talk about. Now, when you go into the Old Testament, there's instances of this, right? When you go in the book of I think it's Kings, Second Kings. You get that Second Kings 6, and yeah, I'll start at 24. It says, and it came to pass after this, Benadad the king of Syria gathered all the hosts and went up to besiege Samaria, and there was a great famine in Samaria. So famine and inflation can happen by two ways, right? The devaluing of the currency and a scarcity of goods. Now, these things can also happen simultaneously, right? It says, there was a great famine in Samaria, and behold, they besieged it until an ass's head, when you go into the law, an ass or a mule is not something that you're supposed to use as food. So keep that in mind. It says an ass's head, something that's not supposed to use for food, was sold for 80 pieces of silver, right? When you go into a score is 20. So 80 pieces of silver. Now, if you took right now the spot price for silver, do this math for you. Right now, the spot price for silver is $27, right? $27 for 1 ounce. So I know a talent weighed more than 1 ounce, but we're gonna do it in modern ways so you can understand. So 1 ounce of silver costs 27 times 20. Okay, that's $540 times 4. So times that by 4. So it would cost $2,161 basically to buy an ass's head, something that's not even food, right? So back in the 25th verse, in the fourth part of a calf's dung, meaning bird's poop, was sold for 5 pieces of silver, right? And 5 pieces of silver I think that's almost $200 when you go $27 an ounce. $135, right? So this is what hyperinflation looks like, and this is going to happen all again, because when you go back into to the scriptures, when it talks about the money falling in Egypt, right? It says Genesis 47:15. It says, and when the money failed in the land of Egypt, in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came to Joseph and said, give us bread, for why should we die in thy presence, for the money faileth. And this is really what's happening now, because the money is failing. People don't have job opportunities. The country's shutting down. Job opportunities aren't there. So what? People are looking to the government for assistance, and this is what they're doing. They're giving the people money, but it's coming at a price. They're getting the people hooked on counting on the government. This is why the scriptures say those that trust in the hand of Egypt, right? This broken. Yeah, this is Isaiah 36:6. It says, lo, thou trustest in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt, whereon if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it through. So is Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to all that trust in him. So, when you think about a staff, it's a support. But if you lean on the support too much, it'll break and go through your hand and cause you to feel pain. And this is what it is. For all those people out there leaning on Esau to continue to give out these stimulus, continue to keep the moratorium up so you don't get kicked out of your houses and apartments, that's going to only be to your own hurt. And this is exactly what's happened. There's nothing new. Nothing new. The Lord set this up. And now, at the same time, this devil, what he's doing is breaking you people down, and it's going to backfire on them. Let me get this. If it'll ever open. God dang. Come on now. Let me start here. This is Malachi. Wow. Oh, you don't want to work for me? Come on. Always something, man. Always something. Malachi 3:5. It says, and I will come near to you to judgment, and I will be a swift witness against the sorcerers, and against the idolaters, and against the false swearers, and against those that oppress the hireling in his wages, the widow and the fatherless, to turn aside the stranger from his right, and fear not me, said Yahweh. And this is what Esau is doing. He's oppressing the hireling, which is what the average everyday man, in his wages. Because what? He's defrauding you of your money. He's defrauding you of the chances and the opportunities to make your money. And then he's putting penalties on you and taxing you out that asshole. So this devil has a lot to pay for. This is James chapter 5. And I'll end it on this one. James chapter 5:1, it says, go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Now, obviously, printing out almost $2 trillion with no physical asset to justify the fact that you can print that much more money is obviously a corrupted a corrupted wealth, right? It says your gold and silver is cankered, which means it's corroded. This whole monetary system that Esau has is fully corroded. It's corrupted. Because for you have it should be $1 to one piece of gold. It really should. When you had a gold standard, you'd be able to get what? $1 would get you one one piece of gold, no matter how much the size, right? So now you have to pay what? I think gold is almost at 3 G's an ounce. So you have to pay 3,000 notes where you would only get 1 ounce of gold. I think I think a gram of gold is something like $85. So you have to pay $85 to get a gram of gold. That's a cankered and corrupted silver and gold weight, right? It says, and trust on them. It says, verse 3, it says, your gold and silver is cankered, and the rest of them shall be witness against you. The corrosion, right? What's corroding? The wealth of it. It says, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped up treasures for the last days. Behold, the hire of the laborers have reaped down your hip fields, meaning the average everyday person, which is of you kept back by fraud. And these devils keep it all back by fraud. You go to work all week, you don't get paid at the end of the day like the scriptures say you're supposed to get paid. Then what? They'll lend your money out to the banks. You'll have your money go direct deposit to the banks. The banks will sit here and actually, it's called fractional reserve banking, where they don't even have to have the equivalent of the money in the bank. It can just be numbers on the screen. They lend out the money. They make a profit on it without your say so. They don't cut you a piece of the check. And then if you sit here and don't have sufficient funds, what? They can hit your bank with all types of fees. Right? That's a fraudulent way to live. It says, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth. So all these people out here, all the poor, right? The scriptures say, if a poor man curse you out in the bitterness of his soul, the Lord will hear. A lot of people are cursing this devil out, man. And more prevalent is the cry of the Israelites, the cry of the prophets, the cry of the righteous, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of Yahweh Sabaoth. You see? So the Lord is hearing the cries now, and you devils are going to play for the way you set up the system, man. And this is why we tell brothers, come out of her, man. There's no reason for you to sit here and be working your ass off in his kingdom, thinking that these devils are going to give you a fair shake, because that's not what they were created for. You know? So Lord willing, this is just a quick little lesson. Lord willing, is that I'm going to say, call halal, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Shalom.